Contraction in relationships is something that is really important to bring a deeper understanding to. Firstly, we need to understand what we're actually talking about, what that means. So in a nutshell, when you're with somebody in an intimate relationship, generally if you've bothered to go deep, you know that person very well. You know the innate qualities about them that make them who they are, that make their expression the fullness of who they can be. Contraction in a relationship is when somebody when something happens and they drop below that, when they make a choice to be with something or to align with something that actually makes them be less than who they are. And you feel that, you sense it, you witness that in your partner. And so then it's contraction in the relationship. It's not just with that person, because it's now entered the relationship.
And when it enters the relationship, it depends on whether you absorb it as the partner. So the idea is to hold yourself strong and inspiring alongside your partner, holding your own love so that you don't drop, so that you're not reacting to their contraction and then you go into contraction, because then you're both lost.
There is also the incidence of somebody contracting because the other is doing really well. So it's not necessarily...
And they compare themselves.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily their own contraction because something's happened that's made them drop, although it has made them drop because they've reacted to their partner doing well. So it can come in any way, and it's very, very important to be aware of and to bring understanding to bring dedication to talking about it and responsibility with it in the relationship, in the team.
Because you're not responsible to help save and rescue your partner if they have contracted. That's not your responsibility. It's not your job. Your job is to take care of loving yourself. And then they have the opportunity to align with you loving yourself. They feel their own love and raise themselves up alongside you. So then you're back to equality again. But the thing is that when that happens, when someone contracts in the relationship and they love themselves less, you can work through that. It's not for us to dismiss that person and say, oh, you're off. You're on your own.
Yeah.
You got to deal with this yourself.
It's not an opportunity to bail or to give up or just to let go, throw the towel in on the relationship.
It's a beautiful thing and very developmental in your relationship to work through these things. But there's one ingredient that's really important. You have to have an absolute commitment to working through it. You can't pull somebody who's got the handbrake on in their relationship with themselves. You can't pull that person and drag them along to make them love themselves and then be back on board with your team. So
there has to be the willingness. Because what we're talking about is not working through things for the sake of staying in a relationship. It's never ever about that. It's only ever about the relationship continuing to grow, continuing to evolve. So if one person or another actually gets to a point where they react or they resist so much and they say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, whether they actually say it or they're just saying it energetically, if there's a no and there's not the willingness, you've got nowhere to go. But if there is a slight resistance but you can feel and sense the willingness and they're communicating the willingness, you've got so much to work with.
And love is so powerful and bringing you forward and expanding you both in that moment.